Hello and welcome to the very first information session for the MEST Africa Training Program Class of 2024. We are very excited to have you all here today. I know some of you have already started your application process and some of you will get started very soon or just want to learn more about our program. So we're very excited to have you here today. I'll give you a brief idea of what will happen. I will tell you a little bit about the MEST training program. Then I'll hand it off to our recruitment associates and my colleague Owusua, who will tell you about the application process. Then we will hear from some of our current entrepreneurs in training, who we affectionately call EITs, who you see on the screen here. They will share a bit about their experience, and we'll wrap up with a little bit about the journey and experience of one of our alumni after the MEST training program. Once again, we're very excited to have you here and welcome. So the MEST training program is a 12-month tech entrepreneurship program. It's based here in Ghana. It's a fully in-person program. So if you're recruited from a different African country, we will bring you here to Ghana for 12 months. You will intensely study and train in technology, including software development, front-end, back-end, and mobile and web development. You will also study business and marketing and communications. And the idea is that you will study these topics and learn so that you can build a viable software startup. Throughout the program, you will test out several business ideas. And at the end of the program, you will actually graduate the program with a viable business and startup created with co-founders that you meet amongst the MEST community. So every year we take up to about 60 talented African aspiring entrepreneurs from across the continent who have a deep interest in software and starting a business. Our program is facilitated by top talent. We call them our teaching fellows. They are, many of them, entrepreneurs themselves. They have industry experience and they come and share their experience and help facilitate the learning for our entrepreneurs in training. The program is fully funded, meaning that we cover your flight to Ghana, your housing, the training experience. We provide 3 meals a day during the week, and we also offer a modest stipend each month to help you with your basic needs. The program is very rigorous and intense, but also full of fun and joy and learning. And we at MEST are so excited to see your applications and meet all of you. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Owusua, who will talk to you about the application process.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon or evening. We're very excited to have you all here for our very first info session for applications for the class of 2024. Thank you, Emily, for that warm welcome and introduction. So I'm going to move straight to the application process. I know most of you here have either started applying or are looking forward to applying. And so this will be very vital information for all of you. So let's dive straight into the application process. Now you have to visit the application portal, which is the main link where you are going to find the application form. When you go there, you have some tasks that you have to undertake before you get to fill the actual application form. We require you to complete 2 pre-learning courses, namely Enterprise Design Thinking Practitioner and also Understand the Basics of Code from Google. When you are through with these 2, now you have to take an aptitude test. And then you go ahead to fill out and submit the MEST Training Program application form. Then from there, we shortlist and then call for interviews. We start with phone interviews, then we move on to group and individual interviews. These ones are facilitated in person, and we have 5 specific countries that we visit for these in-person interviews. I'll throw a bit more light on that as we go ahead. And then the final stage is the offer, where we give you the contract if you are a successful candidate. So I want to walk you through the application portal. A lot of people have trouble locating the application form. So I want to take you through the application portal. I'm going to share my screen and then demonstrate what it should look like. So kindly give me a second. Let me hop on that. Okay, so when you click the link, this is where it brings you. We have the guidelines here and we have apply now. I advise that you always read the guidelines. It's very lengthy, but each detail here is very important. So you need to read everything. We have important dates here. That's when applications close. That's when the program is starting. We have a sneak peek of our curriculum. You get to see some of the things that we teach our EITs over here. And then we also have the candidate profile, where we have the eligibility criteria that will describe the people that we are looking out for. Then when you come to the application proper, we have the 2 pre-learning courses that I've mentioned previously. The first one being Enterprise Design Thinking Practitioner. So that's the link to that course. You click here and then it takes you straight there, and then you can complete it. When you finish, you are supposed to also come and do the Understand the Basics of Code. They are all compulsory, and you need to show proof of participation in your application form. If you do not go through them, you cannot submit your form, because both fields are required in the application. Now, when you finish, you come down here to have your aptitude test. It's a total of 40 questions that will take you 30 seconds to complete, and then you can proceed. We have some FAQ here that you can read through to answer a few questions on your mind that you might have. Great, so let's delve into the application. When you click Apply Now, it will require you to sign in or sign up. If you have signed up already, you will be asked to sign in. If you are new to this platform, then you have to sign up. So I'm going to do that quickly. Okay. Great. So this is the thing. When you enter your email address and your password, it brings you back here. Don't panic. This is where people get confused. They say, I'm back to the guidelines. Don't panic. Just scroll down. Well, I advise that you read again. It doesn't take anything away. You can always read again, but don't panic if you see this again. I'm always being taken back to the guidelines. Why am I saying guidelines? Don't worry, just scroll, scroll, scroll. And then when you come here, you'll be required to provide your address. So enter your few address details, click Save Address and continue. It brings you back to the guidelines again. This is basically because the guidelines are very important and we want you to familiarize with them. That's why we bring them up at every stage. So don't panic if you keep seeing the guidelines. Just scroll up one last time, and then voila, you have your application and you can start entering your details now. So this is basically what you see in the application. We ask for your name. If you have dual citizenship, we ask you to choose what city you would be attending the interview. So these are the cities, these are the countries that we visit for physical interviews. So you'll be required to select one capital city out of the 5 where you will be able to attend your physical interview. Enter a few more personal details. And how did you hear about MEST? So I want to run you through the referral option. If you have been referred to the program by someone, when you click on referral, we have a few options for you over there. Maybe you were referred by a former EIT or a current EIT or a MEST staff. We want to know who referred you. So just choose that for us, and then you'll be led to provide the name, email, and contact number of that person. Good. So another important one I wanted to run through with you is the, okay. the reference check. So we need you to provide details of a reference person that we can follow on if we need more information about you. So here you give us the full name, relationship, and email of that person you are giving us as a reference. And then you click send request now. The person will receive a prompt on their end to submit a reference on your behalf. Now the reference form will come back to us in your application and the recruitment team will be notified. So you don't need to worry, just send the request to the person and follow up with them. Make sure they have submitted. We have people not sending in their reference details up to about a week to the deadlines. So please make sure that when you send a request to someone to be your reference, you consistently keep on reminding them to send your reference form back to us. And these are the pre-learning courses fields. So for the design thinking course, you'll be awarded a badge on Credly. You need to go there and get the link to your profile. And this is where you put it so that we can check and see that indeed you have completed the course. And then for the basics of code, when you finish, you need to take a screenshot of your achievement status. Sometimes you can take a screenshot of the page that says congratulations or that displays 100%, and then you upload it over here for us as well. And then please enter your aptitude test score. So you should have taken the test before getting to this point. We will check, so do not put any figure that you want over here. We have the records. We will check the aptitude test scores from the class marker platform. So please be honest and enter the right score. Great. So that's basically it for the application. So when you click apply now and you keep seeing the guidelines, don't panic, just scroll up, enter your details, click save and continue. You will see the guidelines again. Just scroll up and then now you can get to the form. Right. Thank you very much. So I believe that will be all for now.
Thank you, Oluswa. And I'll just say a few things. We often hear people say the application process is so long and it's so rigorous and people want to give up. And a few things. The MEST training program is 12 months. It's a full year commitment. And so the application process is to help us really understand your commitment to a 12-month program. And then the program itself is rigorous. So of course, the application process is also rigorous. The pre-learning courses are intentional because they cover topics that we cover in our program. And so it gives you an idea and sense of what you might be learning in our program. And so it's a really good opportunity for you to test out, is this something I really want to commit to 12 months? And then the aptitude test, of course, allows us to know a little bit more about your critical thinking skills and some of the other knowledge that you already possess coming into the program. So I'm sure our panel will talk about it, but we just encourage you, hang in there, take your time. You have till February to finish. Start now. And if you have to revisit the application and the pre-learning courses, please do so. And we very much look forward to your application. I think at this time, we are ready and eager to hear from our entrepreneurs in training. So I'll hand it back over to Oluswa to kick us off.
Thank you, Emily, for chipping in with those very important details. Okay. Hi, panel. How are you feeling?
We're pumped and ready.
Good to have you all on board, and thank you so much for honoring this invitation. We are very excited to have you on board. Great. So just to let you know, they are from different countries across the African continent, and they are all EITs of the current class. So they've joined MEST in September of this year, and we just want to know what the MEST feeling is all about, and that's why we brought them on board. So at this point, I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, tell us your name and what country you're coming from.
Okay, I'm Clinton Mbono. I'm from Nigeria.
Hi, I'm Augusta. I'm from Ghana.
Hi everyone, I'm George Jeme. I'm from Senegal.
Hello, my name is Janchuk Sanyama from Kenya.
Okay. Thank you very much for that introduction. Right, so we're going to delve into some deeper questions now. I want to ask you all how you heard about MEST. How did you hear about MEST before you even thought of applying? So let's start off with Clinton.
Okay. So for me, it was social media. I heard about MEST from LinkedIn. A friend of mine that was a past EIT posted about it, and then I decided to grab the opportunity and register. Yeah, social media.
Awesome, that's nice. Let's
Yeah.
hear from Augusta.
For me, I work with a portfolio company that was in MEST for 2021. So I got referred from the co-founders from there, and then I applied to knowing about it.
That's nice. So we have social media, we have portfolio company. Interesting. Great. How about you, George?
If you're going back to social media, it's from Instagram. I think one of your partners share it and I follow up there for the application.
Nice, nice. Gentry?
For me, a friend of mine knew of the application season and shared it with me because she knew that I was interested in being part of such programs.
Okay, awesome. Right. So we know that it's not enough to just hear about the program. It takes a bit of convincing and inner will to actually go forward and apply. A lot of people have heard about it, but ended up not applying. So I'd also like to find out why you decided to apply. We now know how you heard about it, but what was that one big thing that moved you to now say, okay, I feel I'm ready for this. I want to apply to the MEST training program. We'll start with Clinton as usual.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. For me, it was the curriculum. For the most part of my life, I've been an entrepreneur, and that has come with a lot of try and errors, ups and downs. And when I saw the curriculum, it showed me I could learn how to do everything I was doing wrong in all of these years that has hindered me from building a solution for one of Africa's biggest problems. So that alone motivated me to hop onto the application and go through the process. And I'm really glad I did.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Augusta?
For me, I'll say a lot of back and forth in the entrepreneurial journey, just like LinkedIn. I've tried a couple of things, buying and selling, working for people in the startup space, but I wanted to challenge myself, especially in the tech space, and see what I could come out of more specific and specialized in. So for me, it was challenging myself.
Great. Let's hear from George.
Yeah. So for me, I went through a lot of program, like entrepreneurial program, running my own startup. So that was more about the tech part of the program, like to learn how to code and, or at least how to review the tech team that you have. And as Clinton said, I'm not disappointed about it. Like it's really worth it. Yeah.
Great. Great. That's nice. Gentry?
I was going through a career transition. I had worked for startups, but it was, for me, it felt like now I wanted to work in a startup and I wanted to be able even to run my own. So it was a really good, it seemed like a really good opportunity, a great combination of different skills and even knowledge and people. So it just seemed like the perfect opportunity at the perfect time.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing those insights with us. Now we want to move into the MEST experience, the main headline for this session. We really want to know what your experience has been like. You've been in the program for well over 3 months. You joined in September. So far, what would you say your MEST experience has been, and how do you think the training has helped you in your journey? So it's a 2-in-1 question, sort of. Let's know what your MEST experience has been and how the training that you are receiving from here has helped you in your journey. Clinton?
Okay, so for me, the experience has been transformational. I have gotten to know myself even better. And MEST has given me a chance to make as many mistakes as possible. And they don't just allow you do things on your own. There is an army of individuals who are providing support on a daily basis, guiding you on the paths that you wish to be. So it's been a transformational experience for me, and I am growing every day and I'm learning a lot. So that's how it's been for me.
For me, I would say each and every day I'm learning amazing things. Program. I myself each time. It's been an amazing experience so far, learning a lot of things, especially when it comes to my sense of responsibility to pick you've not even been asked.
Think we're having some technical difficulties there. So why don't I think, Owuswa, are you with us? Augusta, maybe let us know when we are back connected with you.
Hi, Emily. Yeah.
Okay, so, okay, there's Augusta. Hi, welcome back.
Hi, sorry. So yes, picking up a good sense of responsibility each day from the program is one of the things I have picked up.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Let's hear from George.
Yeah, so me, I'm really passionate about learning new things. So meeting new people, sharing, and mostly learning. I think that's one of the biggest part of the program, to learn and have fun at the same time. So it's not this kind of archaic or traditional kind of learning, but it's a fact that they put you in different situations for you to learn and have your self-perspective of what you are doing and what lessons can you take about that. And I think so far for this program, that's what I really appreciate. The fact that I'm sharing with people, I'm receiving from them. And at the same time, every time that I'm going to my bed, I know that I learn a new thing, either from the fellows or from my fellows, like all the AITs. Yeah.
Okay. So it's been a great learning journey for George. Thank you. Let's hear from Gentrix.
I'll describe my journey so far as baptism by fire, because from the minute that we landed here, I mean, the first week was, of course, introduction, but from the second week, it was all systems go. And it's a really interesting pace whereby you're learning, as my colleagues have said, you're learning so much in a short time, but the support is there. And I've been able to form really foundational relationships, working relationships, personal relationships. I think I can call some of the AITs, actual friends. We are from 10 different countries, so it's interesting. I'm also learning new languages. So it's just been a very wholesome but very challenging experience.
Nice, wholesome and challenging. That's good to hear. Right. So we all know that the three main subjects taught at MEST are business, communication skills, and technology. But I'm pretty sure that's not all you are picking up from here. So aside from business, communication skills, and technology, which are the main things that you are learning here as part of your curriculum, what other skills and values can you boldly say that you have acquired through the MEST training program?
Okay. For me, it's like I said before, ability to know myself even better. But aside that, the MEST values, generosity, positivity, and standards. These three things are not just mere words in MEST. We live and we breathe them every day. For the positivity part, where others see problems, MEST has trained us to see opportunities as entrepreneurs. Where you see opportunities, you should also provide solutions that are standard enough to compete in the global market. And generosity, we help each other, we support each other. It creates a warm community around this place. So these are the three more things and many more that I've learned, including multitasking or time boxing, because as an entrepreneur, you are forced to do many things at a very short period of time. So these are some of the few other skills I've picked up aside the core curriculum.
Great. Thank you for touching on the values of MEST: generosity, positivity, and standards. Awesome. I guess that.
For me, I'll say previously coming from a hybrid work culture, I used to, like I said, sense of responsibility was one thing for me. I used to do things flexibly, but coming to MEST, even though there are tasks you are supposed to finish on a daily basis, you become more conscious of the time management. You are learning certain things as cultural intelligence, which makes you know that you have to do certain things with certain people in certain ways. Those two things are the ones that have really been values I've picked up within just 3 months. It's been awesome, but yes, it has affected my work culture, and I am grateful for that.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. Let's hear from George.
All right, for me, it's all about scheduling and listening, because scheduling, as an entrepreneur, you always think that you can do everything. Nothing is impossible. So by scheduling, we're talking about the personal scheduling, like Clinton said, how you're scheduling your task, how you're sharing your task with people. So you learn how to work with people directly and how to implement your work or in day to day. But we are talking about also scheduling in the time. So knowing that maybe in 3 months or in 6 months, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to learn to access to this. And that's at the same time that I understand the importance of scaling in a startup, because I was more thinking about, since we already have internet, scaling is easy. You just have to launch your startup in another country. It's on internet, and you just have to sell your product abroad. But by learning how to schedule, you know how to put your task in a line that you won't fail, I will say, and you will work effectively. And by working effectively, you work with a team. That's the importance of listening, because when you were listening, maybe you were getting more idea, better idea, or you were just combining ideas that might make your project work better. So I think that's the two things that I take from MEST.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, George. Let's hear from Gentrix now.
I think for me, I'll talk about personal development because, as we know, MEST is a really dynamic program that for sure professionally will grow. But outside of that, I have learned so much about myself, and not just learning about myself, but being encouraged to prod more about what my personal values are. This is actually one assignment that we were given, and I'd never, I've gone through years of school, but no one had ever asked me that in a classroom. And then now being able to discuss such things with colleagues, with the fellows, with visitors from outside, it's been really interesting. It's been challenging to myself as an individual, but really helpful in thinking more about how I can grow more as a person and apply that to whatever endeavors I take, be it being business or beyond.
Awesome. So it's all about personal development and growth for Gentrix, aside business, communication skills, and technology. Thank you so much for sharing those personal values that you have picked up. And it's great to know that you're not only here for the academics, but you're also here to pick up some lifelong values that you apply, and that will help you in your work life and in your daily life as well. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so we're going to break from the round table questions, and I'm going to come to each of you with a single question. So when I call your name, I'm going to give you one question to answer, and then we'll move like that. Okay. So Clinton, back to you. Can you tell us what's that one thing that you really love most about being at MEST? Don't say food. What's that one thing that you really, really love about being at MEST?
I was about to say food. Anyways, it's not food though, even though the food is incredible, guys. The food is really great. But it's, for me, it's the network. You know, I have been able to sit in the same room with incredible minds from all across Africa. That's on the aspect of the EITs. On the other hand, MEST has also exposed us to meet successful entrepreneurs or even entrepreneurs in general. We've heard their stories, we've gained insights in their journeys. It has given us the privilege to see the other side of things and also expand our network, meeting people that we might not have thought of meeting all over the course of our entire career journey. So for me, it's a baptism by fire for more networks. I don't know how to put that, but it's a network. Yeah.
Great. Network. Interesting. Okay, let's go to Augusta. I'm going to ask you your very personal question. I've heard many people say the journey of an entrepreneur is not an easy one. I don't know how true that is. I'm not an entrepreneur, even though I'm in the environment, and I do see what you go through, and I know it's really tough. And I really hear people say the journey of an entrepreneur is not an easy one. Can you tell us what challenges that you might have faced at the beginning of your journey at MEST and how you overcame them?
Okay, let's say for me, one of my biggest challenges at the beginning was working with people and living with people from diverse backgrounds. Having 53 people from different countries, it's been challenging, it's been tough. Let's say I had to understand people's cultural backgrounds. Let's say most of the talks we had about emotional intelligence, cultural intelligence in class during our MEST program also helped a bit with trying to understand why people do things the way they do and understanding people's actions from their perspective. So for me, one of the biggest challenges I faced was working with people from diverse backgrounds. And I'll say currently, I do understand people. I have my roommate who is not Ghanaian. I've made amazing friends throughout the journey, so it's getting better day in, day out.
Awesome. You said your roommate is not Ghanaian. Where's she from?
My roommate is right there waving.
Okay, so she's from Kenya.
Yes, she is.
So you have to live with someone from Kenya for the first time.
Yes, actually.
I'm pretty sure it's been really interesting.
Yes, it has been.
Awesome. That's nice. Okay, I'm going to go to George. Hi, George.
Hi, also.
Okay, so we were in Senegal for the very first time to recruit some amazing talents, of course, like yourself, right? So what would you say to someone from Senegal who is listening and might have the interest to apply? What words of encouragement would you have for such a person? Being a country that we have only visited once for our interviews, yeah.
I think for them, it will be to not be scared of applying because we have, I think the first barrier might be the languages. So they might think that since it's in English, they cannot apply, or maybe they might be lost. I think we were kind of lost at the beginning because we were in the class and the fellows who were talking, what they are talking about. But right now I'm in this webinar, I'm talking, I'm understanding everything that they are doing. So I think by being immersive in this environment, you just learn how to understand everything that they are doing. Day to day, you have different nationalities. We have 10. So we also have from Cote d'Ivoire, someone from Cote d'Ivoire, but we are all at the in a daily basis, we are speaking English in a way that we are forgetting about the French language. And for another perspective, I think it's a big door open for them to opportunities, because Clinton was talking about networking. And by being in this environment, you will be a lot of most of the time you will be in this kind of exposure of talking to people you would never meet in another environment. So I think the first barrier might be the language. And don't be scared about the languages, and don't be scared about the application. It might be long. We went through the application process, but for them, it might be long, but just keep pushing. If you can split it, if you can have tips, if you can talk to someone before doing it, I think we can do it. And don't be scared about applying. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much for sharing. So if you're a Senegalese out there and you're thinking, oh, it's English, and just push it away. No, George is telling you to be open-minded and be ready to learn. And that's all you need. Once you get in, you have a whole army of people backing you up, and you even forget all the challenges that you might have had. So you're highly encouraged to apply if you're from any other country aside Ghana or Nigeria. You're highly welcome to apply. Awesome. Now at MEST, we do not only have EITs or entrepreneurs in training. MEST is a whole community. We have the people working here, we have the environment, we have the culture, and together this forms the MEST community. So I'm going to ask Jen Trace how the MEST community has helped you in your journey, has supported you in your journey. You're not here only learning, there are other things you're picking up, as you all shared earlier. And how is the MEST community bringing all of this to life for you?
I think I see the MEST community as a wealth of knowledge. It's really interesting to be able to draw from interesting and different needs. So for example, I remember when we were doing one of our projects, I really benefited from the marketing team, which is not actively involved in our training, but they really came in a pivotal way. We've also really benefited from the research team. Again, we don't really get to interact with them on a day-to-day basis, but when you need them, they're really there. I've also gotten an opportunity to meet some past EITs and learn from their experiences, learned from the entrepreneurial journey, and even gotten to shoot ideas back and forth. So it's really helpful. It's like just having the word community is true, because if you need something, it will be really easy to get access to it or get a referral to someone who might better assist you. So I would say that it's been a wealth of knowledge and a true community for me.
Wonderful. So MEST is not just a school, it's an entire community. You leave your home and come here to another home, basically. So thank you so much for sharing that. Awesome. I'm going to go back to the round table. I'm sorry for throwing you on and off. I'm going to go back to the round table. We're going to start with Clinton as usual. A big question, a very, very big question. And I don't know if all of you have such experiences, but I would love for you to share, because we have people out there who are afraid of making that big step, who have even started applying, but are already thinking, let me just put this down. Was there a moment where you gave up, you almost gave up on your application? Was there a moment where you almost did not tender your application, and how did you overcome that? Obviously, you did overcome that because you are here. So how was that experience like for you, and how did you get out of that thought?
Incredible. I would say the MEST application and interviews came at a very weird point in my life, where I found myself in a crossroad. A lot had happened, COVID, and so had happened to my startup, and I was at the brink of either getting a job or continuing my entrepreneurship pursuit. And I had already applied. After the application, I got a job offer. I thought about the whole MEST process over again. I was like, are you sure I shouldn't just go on with this job offer and move on with my life? But yeah, I'm here. I took the bold step to go on with the application process, go on with the interview, and I'm glad I did. So when I got the job, I almost gave up, but then I blanked it out. Like Nigerians would say, I blanked it and I'm here.
Okay, so Clinton took that bold step. Be like Clinton and take the bold step. Thank you so much for not giving up, and we are happy to have you here. Augusta, do you have any such experience? Would you like to tell us?
Yes, I did. First off, I remember clicking the link because I was asked to, try and apply by my CEO at that time. So I clicked the link, I read the guidelines, and I saw I was supposed to take some courses before even finishing submission. I was like, oh no, I'm not going to do this. And then I just closed it and I put it down. So I remember I was getting to the deadline, or when the deadline was extended, and then they kept asking me, oh, have you done it? I'm like, oh yeah, I've done it, I'm doing it, I'm almost there. But I hadn't actually done it. So I had to sit down one day because they were on my neck. So I'll say it's perseverance for my friends. And we finished like as late as 11 p.m. I even remember missing my first call and I had to send an email, but then it got fixed and then I got to have that call. So yes, there are points where I do want to do it. The call was very long, but I'm here now. So I guess it was worth it.
Great. Thank you, Augusta, for also not giving up and going for the big goal. George, I'm sure you have something to say. I like the way you're smiling already. What happened? Tell us.
Just thinking about them going back and forth like me.
Okay.
That was the idea. Because for me, when I was applying, I was not in Senegal. So I was thinking about applying and going back to Senegal. And at a point, we went through the Ramadan, the month of Ramadan. And my mom called me and say, I want to spend the Ramadan with you. So I went back to Senegal. So as we already know, in the Ramadan, we don't have so much to do. So if you were not working, either you were sleeping or laying down. So you just have to wait for the 5 prayers. And after that, you can spend your time with something else. So one day, I think that was the day before the deadline, I wake up really early and I didn't have something to do. So I just think about, oh, I have to apply for MEST. So for all the time I was in my head, I have to apply for MEST. But the first time I opened the application, I was like, this is too long. I will take another day for that. But this day I just remember I have to apply for MEST. And I say it's too long, but I have the whole day. So I just remember I take my time from 10 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. So I was doing the learning process, the design thinking, the basics of code. And I remember my mom was always coming in my room and asking, what are you doing? I'm applying for MEST. Oh, I don't know MEST, and she's going. So I was doing it, but at the same time, I was enjoying the process of applying because you have to learn first to apply. So it's an interesting process to learn. And at least in my head, I was like, if I'm not selected, at least I learned something. I learned the design thinking process. I learned the critical thinking. I learned the basics of code that maybe I might use in my campaign or something like that. So I was really faithful. So I think at 7 p.m., I went to eat something. I just grabbed something to eat, went back to finish the application. And I was like, oh, I'm done 1 hour after 7 p.m. And I was like, oh, I think it's worth it. Because right now, when I think about it, when you went through the process, like lately, I was like, this is too long. I think I thought about that. This is long, but I think that we just show the dedication you have of applying for MEST. And yeah, it's a really good one.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, George, for not giving up. Yeah, so as Emily mentioned earlier, you're going to commit 12 months of your life to this. And so you need to prove that you have the tenacity to go through this. It's not a punishment. We just want to recruit the very best of Africa. And so you need to show something, right? Okay, thank you. Gentrix, do you have anything to share on that?
The first obstacle that I faced was actually mental, because I thought it's only for people with a technical background, and I do not have a technical background. So I had to just check requirements again. Are you sure it's okay from any background? How must emails work? Are you sure? So having overcome that past barrier, I remember we had poor connection the day of the call. I think our Wi-Fi at home was having an issue. And immediately the call finished, I was really struggling through it. I went and told my mother, I don't think they'll take me. I don't think they could hear anything I was saying. But I'm glad that I was able to push through and still try and listen and answer. And then again, during the group stages, I believe, I just kind of panicked in between, but again, pushed through. So I think for anyone who's trying to apply, just keep on doing it, keep on putting your best foot forward. Someone will see you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's amazing that all our panelists have had such an experience. I thought I was going to ask this question and say, someone would say, not me, just let's go to the next person. And I'm sure that it's not just the four of you. Some more of your colleagues also have had to go through this phase, and it's such a big relief to know that you overcame that and then you're finally here. Right. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure someone is being encouraged and then they would also have a change of mind. Great. So we are wrapping up pretty soon. Before we go and talk to our honorable alumni from South Africa. So final comments, I just want to ask you if you have anything to say to someone out there who might be willing to apply, any final words that you have for participants in here. Let's start with Clinton.
Okay, you can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. So for me, I would say this is 1 year of your life where someone says, come, I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to take care of every single thing you need. All you need to do is to improve yourself. There is no other program like that in Africa. I'm not even sure there's any program like that so far that I've heard of. So this is a huge opportunity, and I don't think you should sleep on it. Apply, take this 1 year, improve yourself, and watch how you will grow tremendously at the end of the 1 year. We've been here for 3-4 months, and we are seeing the growth already. We are seeing the changes. We are advancing in ways that we did not even expect it. Imagine how it would be after 1 year. So same goes for you. If you get in here, take the opportunity and improve yourself.
Great. Thank you so much for those encouraging words, Clinton. Apply, improve yourself. Thank you. Augusta, what do you have to say to someone out there who is in between this?
For me, I'll say push yourself, challenge yourself. It's an amazing journey here. A lot of development, personal development, professional development, and even communication development. So challenge yourself and see what the world has to offer.
Awesome. Thank you. Challenge yourself. Great. Thank you for sharing that. George, what do you have to say to our friends out there?
So for me, I want more Senegalese here. Like I want more from Senegal, from French-speaking countries too, because I think going through this program, I just realized the barriers that we have in our French-speaking countries. I'm meeting this Nigerian, Kenyan, from Uganda, Sudan. I just realized that we are in our bubble. We are thinking that we are improving our startup ecosystem, but by coming to MEST, I just realized that we have a lot to learn. So I was surprised that this year we are still recruiting in Senegal, and I think it's a huge opportunity for them to learn and going back to their country, or maybe got funded and going to another country, is still mentoring, helping our startup ecosystem. So my line is, I want more Senegalese in MEST.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
He wants more Senegalese at MEST. Okay, let's see how that goes. Right, Jen Trace, how about you? What do you have to say?
I had something else in mind, but inspired by George, let me also say that I would like to see more women here. So to all the women on the call, or if you know a woman that you think would be good for this, please encourage them, trust in yourself, trust in the process, and we can't wait to see you here.
Awesome. Thank you, panel. Thank you so much for the insightful experiences that you have shared with us. And we're very glad that we have had to listen to you. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there who are going to take a lot of seed out of what you have said and take that bold step. Thank you very much. So we're going to move on to Sakile, who is our alumni from South Africa. He's going to introduce himself and also give us a few insights about his experience here, what he's doing currently, and how MEST has shaped him for his current role. Hi, Sakile.
Hello, how are you doing? Apologies for my camera. We're having electricity problems in South Africa right now.
Oh, okay, that's all right. Thank you so much for joining. Please go ahead, introduce yourself, and let us know what your experience was like.
Yeah, so just a bit about me. I joined MEST in 2017, I believe. Yeah, 2017, graduated in 2018. I joined MEST straight out of Meltwater. So I used to work for Meltwater in South Africa and Cape Town. Yeah, so the experience was amazing for us, right? So I think the key takeaways and the things that we enjoyed, when I say we, me and my team, the guys that we graduated with and started a company with, I would say I think the most instrumental things were the capstone projects. I think we thoroughly enjoyed capstones. I think it was a lot of pressure. And I think more than anything, I think it was the guests that were invited to MEST. And I think as an example, because of the high caliber guest, I think it shaped who I am today in terms of the projects that we work on. So just a bit about what we do is I founded a company called Seed South Capital. And we are a boutique specialist venture capital firm out of South Africa. And what we invest in is what we call IP commercialization. And IP commercialization is, long story short, it's innovation coming out of some of the top research and development institutions in South Africa. So anything from science councils, universities, and high technology or high caliber technology projects. So stuff in the healthcare sector, stuff in manufacturing. And so for example, we're currently investing in what would be South Africa's first HIV diagnostic test, which will be the first diagnostic test produced and developed in South Africa. We're currently importing these things from around the world, right? So we're looking at those types of projects that could create a lot of value down. Just a lot of value creation from job creation in the country, manufacturing, and export potential, right? So that's what we're super duper excited about. And as a byproduct of that, we've then partnered with some of the best firms in the world that do this, because we quickly realized that the skill set didn't exist in South Africa, and we also didn't have it, but we realized that IP commercialization is one of the fastest growing niches in VC globally. So we wanted to tap into that market opportunity. So we work with guys that are commercializing innovation from the likes of Oxford, Harvard, and MIT, for example. We strongly believe that real potential for Africa will come out of our research development institutions, what our top professors are working on. And now the trick is, how do we take that research and turn it into some of the most amazing companies out of the continent? Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I think, what did we enjoy about MEST? I think, again, as you've realized, I think if it wasn't for MEST, I don't think I would have started Seed South Capital, doing what we're doing with the South African government. But I think what we learned from MEST were the basics of how to build companies, right? And the basic criteria of how to build companies, right? I think you can go anywhere in the world. And I've had the privilege of traveling through the work that I do, judging on some of the top competitions globally, also in South Africa as well, vetting innovation on behalf of some of the top institutions in the world. And one thing I can tell you about MEST, which I think is better than everybody, is the ability to teach you how to package your opportunities. And man, we go through some of the best technologies in the world, but it's so poorly packaged that you end up not investing in it, right? And I think that's the gold mine in terms of what MEST taught us, is their ability to package your opportunity and package it in such a way that you're able to attract investors. And that's the thing, right? How do you speak the language of investors, right? And I think that's what I think was the key takeaway from MEST and what we do today, is helping others package their opportunities so that it's also investable, right? So I think for me, that's probably the key thing. And just in summary, I think what you should take away from this experience more than anything is pay attention to, I think your goal should not be to raise capital from MEST and the whole program. I think the goal is, how do you become very good at building companies? So pay attention to what you're learning in class, pay attention to everything that the whole experience that MEST gives you, because I think what you're learning at MEST is the ability to solve problems, right? And I think that's probably the most rare, it's probably the most rare skill set. A lot of people don't know how to solve problems. And I think the MEST program is all about identifying programs and identifying problems and how to solve those problems through technology, through code and all of that stuff like that. But the fundamental skill set is solving problems, right? And I think if you guys become really good at, first and foremost, identifying problems, and secondly, how to solve those problems and how to articulate value in solving those problems, I think you then become valuable to your society, right? And again, for me, I look at myself as well. I'm not a genius at what we do. It's just what I learned at MEST, is how to identify problems in society, how to put together a solution, whether it's technology orientated, but whatever, and how to create value from that, right? And just give you an example again of what we're doing is, we saw that the South African economy needed to create jobs. That was the biggest problem, massive youth unemployment in the country. And the question is, what could we do to solve that problem, right? And that was the business case. And I think if you begin to look at the world from a problem-solving perspective, I think you guys are going to build exceptional companies. I think you're going to get hired by some of the best companies on the African continent, because everybody is looking for people who can actually solve problems and be valuable, right? So I think that will probably be my takeaway, is look at the world from a problem-solving perspective, but also pay attention in class on how to solve problems. So whatever your lecturers or whoever's teaching you guys, and all of those things that you're learning at MEST, pay attention to the ability to solve problems and how to solve problems, and creating your own methodologies in solving problems. And I think you begin to see patterns in the world after that, right? If you look at the world from that perspective, you begin to see opportunities everywhere. And then your mind automatically begins to connect the dots on how to solve those problems. So I think that will probably be my parting remarks to all of you.
Thank you so much, Sakile. That was some rich experience there. And it's amazing how you still speak with so much passion, even after so many years of graduating from MEST. It's really great to hear you talk so highly about it. And we're glad for all the experience that you have just shared with us. Thank you so much. Right, panel and participants, we have come to the end of our very first webinar for the class of 2024 applications. It was such a pleasure meeting you all and hearing from you all. Thank you so much for sharing. We will take a few questions, maybe 5, and then we will wrap up. Emily will give us the closing remarks and then we'll wrap up from here. I see that a lot of questions have already been answered, so we'll just give room for about 5, and then we can call it a day.
And I'll just say we had a few questions about microphone and camera use. That is not an option. So if you do have a question, please just go ahead and put it in the Q&A box and we can answer that for you. I see 4 participants with their hands raised. So please, if you can go ahead and type your question in the Q&A box, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
So I think we're getting a lot of questions, Oluswa, on the aptitude test. People want to know what's on it. Can they prepare for it ahead of time? Would you like to take that, or would you like me to take that one?
Okay, I can take that. So the aptitude test is going to go through some categories. Okay, we have categories of questions that we test you on. We have questions on communication, we have questions on technology, business, logical reasoning, and critical thinking. These are basically the areas that we test you on. It's going to be 40 questions for 30 minutes, and that's how it is. Yeah, so just prepare around these areas. Yeah.
Yes, and I'll say we take each applicant's full application into consideration. So we don't just look at aptitude test scores, we look at your application questions, we look at completion of the pre-learning courses, we look at your first round interview. So if you're really nervous about the aptitude test, please just give it your all. We want to see where you stand in these areas at this time, because many of the topics that are covered in the aptitude test are covered in our curriculum. And it just gives us a sense of where you are currently. But even if you get a terrible score, there are other ways to make up through your application responses. So be very intentional about your responses and through your interview as well. And there is no test prep materials out there. This is a unique test to MEST. Okay, I think we have a question on age. I think we've gotten this a few times. So typically our candidates are between the ages of 18 and 35. That is because we are a fully residential program, and those are typically the ages that we find individuals are able to participate in a full-time, fully residential program. However, if you do not meet, if you are above those age requirements, please feel free to apply. We are happy to consider you. If you are below, we will ask that you wait until you are at least 18 to apply, please. I think we've also gotten several questions on if you can come to MEST with an already existing business. Of course, we love to see existing entrepreneurs because our program is all about training entrepreneurs. However, the focus of the MEST training program is for you to train as an entrepreneur and build a business with co-founders from the MEST community. So if you have an existing business idea, sure, you can bring it to the program, but there's no guarantee that your other team members and co-founders will want to work on that idea. And we are not an accelerator program. So MEST does run acceleration programs in some of our other programs. So we encourage you to check those out if that is what you're looking for. But the 12-month MEST training program is a training program in entrepreneurship. And so if you have a business, you will have to put it on hold for 12 months because this is a full-time graduate level program. It's intense and it's really not possible to run a full-time business alongside. And then I think people ask like if they're already running a startup. Certainly, I mean, our cohort right now, we have several individuals who are previous startup founders, but again, they have to pause what they're doing to participate in the program. I think we've gotten a few, I think I'll take 2 more questions. I've gotten a few questions about if you've applied before and taken the pre-learning courses, do you need to do them again? We highly encourage you to do them again to refresh your knowledge on the topic areas. Also, you must show proof of completion. So if you do not have proof of completion from say last year's application, then you will most definitely have to take them again. Also, the courses are a bit different than they were a few years ago. So it is very important to make sure that these are the same courses that you participated in. And again, it doesn't hurt to take them again. We accept up to 60 applicants in our program. And after what comes after completing the application? Owusu, would you like to take that question? And then I'll do some closing remarks.
Sorry, please come again.
The question was, what happens after they submit the application? Sorry, Owusu, I think you might be on mute.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, so after you submit your application, we do the reviews on a rolling basis. So we will get back to you and let you know if you are moving on to the next stage or not. So after the application is the phone interview stage. That's the first round of interviews where we interact with you on phone. And then if you are moving on, we let you go to the group stages if you pass from the phone interview stage. For the group interview stage, it is physical and in-person. This is where we visit the 5 countries that you know about: Ghana, Senegal, Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa. These are the countries where we have the physical interviews. That's group interviews and one-on-one interviews. And from there, we move on to offer of contract if you make it through. Yeah, so please hold on. If you have submitted your application, we will get back to you and let you know if you are moving on to phone stage or not. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you, Owusu. Final question that I will answer, and maybe also you can type it in the chat while I'm doing closing remarks, is if you have lingering questions or are having difficulty on your application, what do? You email recruitment@meltwater.org. But again, please make sure you're reading all the guidelines, all the criteria. There's also a very robust list of frequently asked questions. We highly encourage you to look at those as well before you outreach to the inbox. We're more than happy to answer your questions in the inbox, but I think you might get a quicker response by just looking at some of the FAQs as well. So thank you, Owusu. I see it in the chat, recruitment@meltwater.org. Make sure you copy that email and you can reach out to us afterwards. So I want to thank you all once again for giving us 1 hour of your time. I want to thank our fantastic entrepreneurs in training and our alum for being on the panel and sharing their stories and their experiences. The MEST community is really a special place. We are so excited to meet and get to know all of you through the application process. And remember to submit your applications before mid-February. I believe Owusu, is it February 26th?
Yes,
before February 26th. So this is a great time to get started, as you know, it is a little bit slower pace for lots of people around holidays. Go ahead and start that application, and we look forward to seeing your applications. Thank you once again. And if you have questions, please email recruitment@meltwater.org. Wishing you a very wonderful rest of your day. Bye.